Near mint condition, the home of collected editions.
That cover's so awesome.
This is Mr. Chris Claremont, a legend.
Melanie goes,
Tired.
how's it going, all you minties? Uncanny Omar here from Near Mint Condition, the home of collected editions. Today I'm going to be talking about my top 10 must-reads, essential buys, the books I am recommending for the month of November of 2025. So let's find out what these collected editions are, and of course, why. And welcome back, everybody. Before going any further, a big thank you to all of our wonderful patrons for making videos like this possible. Could not be doing this without you all. So today I am going to be talking about the books I'm most excited for, the books I've already read and I'm going to recommend. Some of these, actually, I haven't read. I'm just excited because of the creative team behind it and other books I've enjoyed by them. And you all let me know if you read them and what you think, and of course what your top 1 buy is, what your top 10 buy are, or top 5, whatever it is. Please don't forget to smash that like button. It goes a long way for us here on the channel. Small thing you can do, but it does mean the world to us. Alright, limiting myself to 10 because I know next month, December, all kinds of loopholes. Oh, this is 31 days of December. Oh my gosh, that's a lot. 25 days. Alright, and this I am putting, as always, in release order. And again, just in case, sometimes dates are subject to change. Okay, let's go ahead and start. My first choice, of course, is The Spectre by John Ostrander and Tom Mandrake, Omnibus Volume 1. That Volume 1 gives me hope that there will be more. But this is collecting The Spectre 1 through 31 and issue number 0 and the material from Who's Who, the definitive directory of the DC Universe, number 21. This is 888 pages, $125. I was getting these particular issues, and right before I stopped collecting comics, I do remember I bought into the gimmicky glow-in-the-dark cover. I thought it was really cool because I loved the Ghost Rider, was it issue number 18 cover? That was also glow-in-the-dark. But there was just something special about it, and I had never really read a lot of the Spectre outside of some of the guest appearances in other of DC's comics, but this one's really good. It's Ostrander, who of course had written Suicide Squad, and it's also the legendary Tom Mandrake. But this is set in the 90s, and it is the story of Jim Corrigan, and he is a police officer, or actually he's a detective during this time, and he is on a mission to end his mission as the Spectre, because he's been the Spectre for a while. One thing leads to another, and he doesn't 100% succeed, and ends up going to perhaps hell. And then there's all kinds of other stories that come out of that, and of course, Madame Xanadu playing a big part in this at the beginning. You're also going to see John Constantine, Etrick and the Demon in here, Dr. Fate, Zatanna, and Phantom Stranger. And they're not always on his side, by the way. And I cannot wait for people that have never read this, that have checked out Suicide Squad and loved it, to check this out. X-Men by Al Ewing Omnibus. Now, of course, I always, or have recommended rather, the chronological, everything in the package, Dawn of X Omnis. I think they're the best way to enjoy everything. If you don't want to enjoy everything and you just want to kind of get an idea of what was happening in the Krakoa era, and you are more drawn to creators, then don't miss out on this one, especially if you have the Jonathan Hickman Omnibus, because we're also getting the Jerry Dugan Omnibus of X-Men. But this is collecting Sword 1 through 11. I love that series. X-Men Red 1 through 15, 16, the A story 17 through 18, Storm and the Brotherhood of Mutants 1 through 3, Resurrection of Magneto 1 through 4, Cable Reloaded 1, X-Men Before the Fall, Heralds of Apocalypse 1, Marvel Voices X-Men number 1, The Man with No Shame story, 1,136 pages, $125. It is all, of course, written by Al Ewing, and you have artwork in here from Valerio Schetti to Stefano Caselli. Both covers available the same day. I was a big fan of Sword, what is it, the Secret, is it Secret World? Or no, Sentient World Observation and Response Directorate? I think, or Directory. No, it's got to be Directory. Um, Ever since it was established, of course, in Astonishing X-Men, you had Agent Brand, and I was just a big fan of this idea of this space station that kind of monitors everything going on out there, and it's mutant related. Throw in some mutants in there, oh my gosh, and the return of Abigail Brand, I loved it. Then you have X-Men Red in here, which is Storm's new red planet nation of Araco, and uh, I thought it was a perfect, like, hey, let's get out of Earth and do our own story. But then again, you're forced into crossovers like the Avengers, Eternals, X-Men, the Axe, Judgment Day, which actually plays a big part in this. And then the miniseries Resurrection of Magneto. The Storm and the Brotherhood of Mutants, that is taking place during the Sins of Sinister. I am very, very curious how they're going to recap everything that has happened in the other books, because it is a little bit confusing, especially when Kieran Gillen and Cy Spurrier are your two other writers. But if anybody can hang with those guys, it is definitely Al Ewing. Friday. This is a book I found out about a couple of months ago, and Ed Brubaker, Marcos Martin, Munsa Vincetti. Oh my gosh. Yes, all day, every day, yes. It is a deluxe edition. There were 3 trade paperbacks that were previously available. And I got excited. Normally when I see a name, I'm like, that's all I need to know. But in case you folks want to know what this is, I did a little bit of reading. This is all the story of Friday Fitzhurt, and how during her childhood, she was a lot like Nancy Drew, solving crimes with her friend Lancelot James. And eventually, this is her growing up and going away to college and forgetting about that life, you know, where she doesn't have the smartest boy in the world at her side trying to solve crimes. Well, eventually she does get, like, she gets pulled back into this New England mystery, and it is all setting place around Christmas time, so I figured it'd be a good read. Plus, it's Ed Brubaker, Marcos Martin. There's no way that goes wrong, right? Armored. Volume 1. This is published by Clover Press. I had the privilege of getting to read the first 2 issues of this. Michael Schwartz and Ismael Hernandez. Michael Schwartz, I actually interviewed him a few months back. He's the gentleman that had written the Netflix Gnome Alone. I don't know if anybody had ended up watching that, but I really like this book. It is all about Andy and finding this suit of armor, and of course with that suit comes a sword, and this ghostly knight that kind of becomes his sidekick to stop this evil from taking over the world. So it's been compared to like Stranger Things meets The Sword in the Stone, and I can completely see that. But I really love the artwork in here, and I'm so glad this is coming out in a hardcover format. I know there was a Kickstarter, but I'm glad for the people that weren't able to Kickstart it, or sometimes, you know, Kickstarter isn't available in every country. So in here, you're going to get all 5 of the issues. There is a 10-page bonus story, and I'm very happy for Michael. This was a successful Kickstarter, and now coming out on retail, so I get to finish that story. Plus, you get the cover gallery in here with people like Jay Lee and David Mack and Becky Cloonan, just to name a few. But yes, it is all the story of 13-year-old Andy, whose parents disappeared, and then adopting this armor. Now, the next book is House and Powers of X. If you bought the Dawn of X Omnibus and you haven't started reading it yet, don't. This is the book you read before that. House and Powers of X is the miniseries event that kicked off the Krakoa era. So collecting House of X 1 through 6 and Powers of X 1 through 6. 6 years ago. That is crazy. And this is where we get the new status quo. How are some of if you haven't read X-Men for a while, how are some of these X-Men alive now? How are some of these villains alive? What role does Moira McTaggart have to play in all of this? And how is she even alive? I thought she died in one of the crossovers. Well, it is all explained through here. And if you're a big X-Men fan like I was, and just going back to all the details, especially when you get to the... No, I don't want to spoil what issue it is either, because there's a big twist in here, and it's one of my favorite twists in comics. And it's one of those moments that I'm like, oh, wait, that actually makes sense. If you go back to that issue of X-Men, or if you go back to that early issue of Uncanny, oh my gosh. This book has artwork by, of course, Pepe Larraz and R.B. Silva. 448 pages, $75, and I already said it in my upcoming collected editions of November. But in case you missed it, this printing does have some binding, unlike the first printing, which had the glued binding. Absolute Martian Manhunter Volume 1. Martian Vision. Denise Camp and Javier Rodriguez. These are two creators that I have grown to love everything they've done. And this is collecting Absolute Martian Manhunter 1 through 6. There is a trade paperback edition for $17.99. The standard size hardcover is $24.99. I did break down and read the first issue because everybody kept talking about it. I'm like, somebody's going to spoil this thing for me. I'm glad I did because now I get what kind of surreal, trippy type of story it is and why people love it and why I've actually had some viewers that don't like it. I get it. So it is... okay, let me just explain it. So we are looking at the Absolute Universe. It is a new beginning for well-established characters in the DC Universe, but this is a fresh start. You don't need to read anything before this. You don't even need to read the other Absolute titles. But it is FBI agent John Jones, so he's an FBI agent in the story, and how his brain has been infected by an alien consciousness called the Martian. And through that, it's just this wild and trippy ride. And oh my gosh, it's sometimes beyond my understanding what is happening, and sometimes I'm like, oh, totally getting what's happening. But the first issue had me hooked, and I cannot wait to read the first 6 issues. And it is still an ongoing series. And I've loved every one of these that have come out so far. We've only had 3. This will be the 4th Absolute book that comes out. The Ghost Compendium, Volume 1. Oh my gosh, I've been waiting for a big collection. I know it's not an omnibus. It's not a big oversized format. But it is a thickie because we're looking at 1,104 pages. Trade paperback. So it's a compendium. And it is $59.99, and it collects the early appearances of Ghosts. So you've got the Greatest World Arcadia Week 3, and Ghost Special number 1, Ghost Series 1 through 12, A Decade of Dark Horse number 2, Ghost Series 1 13 through 36, Ghost Special 2 and 3, and Dark Horse Presents 145 to 147. So this is all the character of Eliza Cameron, who is an intrepid reporter, who is trying to find the murderer, or I guess the killers of this one specific case. And the case that she's trying to figure out is her own. Someone killed her in cold blood. And now she has become the spectral avenger. Spectre. Ghost, except Spectre doesn't use guns, okay? She uses a .45 caliber gun to go after these people that did her wrong. And then, of course, later on kind of becomes the I don't want to say spirit of vengeance because immediately people think Ghost Rider, Spectre, but sort of like that. And of course you're going to see supernatural elements in here, exorcisms and mysteries and vengeance. So in here you're going to find artwork by Ivan Hayes, Jason Pearson doing some of the beautiful art in here, Adam Hughes, Terry Dodson, John Cassaday, Tony Harris, and then of course Eric Luke, I think, writing all these stories, if not a majority of them. And we already have a Compendium Volume 2 that is in the catalog for April of next year. So I'm glad that Dark Horse isn't waiting to see the sales and like, oh, let's go ahead and greenlight that. Okay, next on the list, oh my gosh. This was hard because there was a lot of books coming out. King Conan, the original comics omnibus Volume 2. I have been waiting years for this, much like Volume 9 of Savage Sword. This is stuff I have never read. And, you know, and even when people were telling me that after Roy Thomas left the book, it's not good Conan, I really enjoyed it. I have enjoyed every Conan story. Some a lot more than others, but it is still Conan. So this is Alan Selenitz, Don Krar, Mark Silvestri, my favorite artist of all time, doing some of the artwork in here, Mike Doherty, Judith Hunt, Jeff Isherwood. And this is the era of Conan when he's a little bit older and he is king. And he has his son, Khan. And I think this is one, I don't want to spoil what happens in this. I haven't read it again because this collects issues 20 through 35. Where I remember there were ads in the comic books that was kind of a big spoiler. In the comics I was buying, I wasn't buying Conan at the time. And I remember there was one particular ad that I was like, whoa, that is dark. And they really do that? So I'm curious what happens in this book. I know nothing about it outside of the creators, outside of the fact that it's $125 and there's going to be 2 covers. And hopefully, knock on wood, will be out that day. And I'm super excited for it. 7 Secrets, the Deluxe Edition. This is published by Boom Studios. Tom Taylor, Danielle D. Nicolu is the artist. This is a hardcover format and a slipcase edition. So the hardcover is $59.99. The slipcase edition is $79.99 and is identical, I assume, if it's like the other slipcase / hardcover editions. This is collecting issues 1 through 18. This is one that I know nothing about other than the fact that I love Tom Taylor's writing and I really like Danielle D. Nicolu's artwork. And this is, okay, let me just see. We're reading this together for the first time. In case you've already read this, please let me know. For centuries, the Order has trusted in keepers and holders to guard the secrets in 7 briefcases against all harm. But when their stronghold is attacked and the secrets put in peril, the entire Order must face their greatest fear. An enemy who knows too much and is willing to kill to get what he wants. Okay, that's good enough for me. It's Tom Taylor, and I like the artist, so yeah, I'm in. And wrapping up my top 10 is one that snuck up on me. This is Fruit Basket, the complete box set. Yes, there's been an anime, but the anime did not cover everything that the manga did. This is collecting the 13 volumes of the collectors. I think there were 13 of the collector's edition, if I'm not mistaken. But Fruits Basket is all about this girl named Toru, who ends up losing some of her family. She ends I don't mean to laugh at that. What she ends up doing is something really irrational, and she ends up moving and pitching a tent in this land where the Soma clan live. And this is when things get really interesting, because there's a little bit of twist as to who the Soma clan are. The Soma clan have this really weird secret where if the opposite sex were to touch them, they turn into the animals from the Chinese zodiac. And that's what Fruits Basket is. I've gotten the Tokyo Pop version, and who else printed this? I think it was Tokyo Pop. They actually did hardcovers of this when I was reviewing manga for a magazine. My gosh, that was years ago. It was 2005, I think, whenever they were doing that. It was right before they went under. But this is all in one box set, and it is coming out the last week of the month. And in here, you're going to not just get the volumes, but you'll have a beautiful set of lenticular cards. And this one here retailing for $240 and published by Yen Press. So Yen Press are the ones that now own the series. So the total of pages you're getting in here is 4,560 pages. My gosh. It's got a handle. That's awesome. I love the designs of Yen Press box sets. They never cease to amaze me. And this one looks like, yeah, right before December. So, woo, man, it's going to be expensive. All right. If these books come out, when these books come out, don't forget to check out our sponsors.
If you're in Europe and you're interested in buying these books, definitely check out Walt's Comic Shop in Berlin, Germany. They have the cheapest pre-order prices, flat shipping rate of €12 for all EU countries, emails answered within 24 hours, waltzcomicshop.com, and you can use the code nearmintcon at checkout and get free shipping for all EU countries with your first order over €40. That's Walt's Comic Shop, your reliable source for omnis and premium collected editions in Europe. Ding!
CheapGraphicNovels.com, your online home for graphic novels and collected editions up to 50% off cover price. They have excellent shipping and prompt and helpful service. Check out their bargain deals for up to 90% off cover price. And don't forget, the CGN also takes pre-orders. That way you don't miss out on the hottest releases. And they are currently running a special promotion for you Minties. If you're a first-time customer, after receiving your order confirmation email, reply back to that email and let them know Near Mint Condition sent you their way. They will then apply a free shipping promotional credit to your next order in the US. Cheap Graphic Novels, your source for the hottest books with the kind of deep discount, quality shipping, and customer service that will keep you coming back for more. And that was my top 10 list of the must-reads, essential buys, or books to check out, whether they're from the library or borrowing from a friend, for the month of November of 2025. In the comments down below, let me know what your top 10, your top 1, your top 2, top 5 list looks like that you have to get, you have to read. You're not going to miss out on it this time around. But that is it, everybody. Thank you for watching. Smash that like button on the way out. Check us out on Patreon and Spreadshop. Amazing ways to support the channel if you can do so. Stay healthy and safe out there. Much love.